Hi, welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about my teaching method or model. And to start with, a good teacher should have compassion. And compassion is a very broad term. It includes a lot of properties a teacher should have. Again, we won't get that much time to talk about those in detail here. And dynamism is also part of the compassion, but I put the dynamism here outside to emphasize that teachers should be dynamic not only in terms of the presentation or making presentations or changing the text or improving the text or updating the text. It also includes the dynamism with the interaction with the students, Also, dynamism is with respect to using different technologies, but main dynamism. I consider main as is interaction with the students also, because you have got a different array of students, and you should be dynamic to understand to deal with all kinds of different situations. And then people use different models, and the model I believe is in Universal Design for Learning. It has been proposed to be more successful. Universal Design Learning is that you provide all your teaching material you provide in text, videos, and audios, and things like that. So, so the other model or other method in the teaching is that you can have different kinds of teachings. You can have evidence-based teaching method. You can have problem-based teaching methods, and you can what I usually use most of the times is learning and familiarization. This made me my creation of. I also use evidence-based teaching, and I seldom use problem-based teaching, but I do use it sometimes. For learning and familiarization, because I teach different courses, different levels, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So, but I think that learning and familiarization is the one that holds for most of the lectures throughout. So, in this case, in the learning and familiarization, what you do is you spend a lot of time on course design. For example, if I give you an example here, is one of the courses. You design the courses in such a way that it is learning and familiarization. So it has my courses, for example, my syllabuses. They will have all the information of where people can contact me. They can contact me in person or online, and then the information about the course, books to use, activities, homeworks, and then grading policies, and then rubrics. And the main point here is what takes a lot of time is how do you design the syllabus schedule actually. Here, for example, I'm starting with the chemistry of life, small molecules, then building those molecules into macromolecules, and assembling macromolecules into cells, then making the cell to do cellular respiration, cellular photosynthesis and respiration, and then going back to the cell, to the nucleus, and talking about DNA, and going to multiple DNA duplication, replication, and protein synthesis and stuff, and then bringing that DNA to biotechnology. And you're seeing that each step, for example, in this case in course design, the previous concept gets again reinforced, again gets refreshed and gets reinforced. So that helps a lot in again learning and familiarization. You're familiarizing them first, and then you're reinforcing it, and that ensures the learning. And you are seeing that in this course, for example, in this syllabus, each topic has also got a chapter from which it has been taken, and then homeworks and everything else, and then all the dates are shown here. Then also, for example, here, we have also, before any exam, we undergo a review of whatever we have studied, so we can review it, so we can ensure student success again in the exam, so we don't have to give them extra work or makeup work or things like that. We try to reduce that, although we do give that. I do give that, but we try to reduce that. We try to take care of it before we have to reach there. Now when we go, once we have done the syllabus, then we have to actually make actual PowerPoint presentations or slides. Again, we start with, for example, here is an example. We start with the material. I'm talking about proteins. Again, we start with the basic stuff. We assemble the amino acids into polypeptide chains, and then from the polypeptide chains, we get secondary structures and tertiary structures. And then we have also got videos, for example, extend the whole concept to the human application, disease, and stuff like that. And then we have got this, for example, videos connecting them to some current topic, which is currency. So it does not become, so the whole topic does not become a bookish topic. Rather, it is what is current outside, what they can feel, and they could find and feel outside their environment, just giving in the outside environment. Once we have taught this, we also try to see how student engagement in our courses. For example, I have gone here. If I'm talking about plants, we start with some icebreaker questions. For example, what color leaves do you like? So people start jovially engaging in and responding them. And now, once we have got into this condition, then you start to ask questions about comprehension to gauge how much the things have. How much people have understood. For example, I give another example of how do we gauge the comprehension and how do we engage people. For example, here in this case, for example, if we are talked about if we are taught photosynthesis in the class, so the respiration in the class, then what we do is we ask these questions, which are these clicker questions and engaging questions. And the way they are made or designed, again, to reinforce the information, right? Again, we are talking about the light reaction here and the dark reaction here. It again, it reinforces the concept of, although you are asking the question, but it reinforces the information. Again, we are asking about cellular respiration, and you are reinforcing at the same time when you are engaging them. But actual point after these, giving these type of engagement questions, is you give us we give a question like this. Yeah. So as shown on the slide here, in this case, it is an opinion question, and in this opinion, what the opinion will reflect is how much people have comprehended. And in this case, what you expect is most of the answers should fall in this category here: agree or strongly agree. You should see less and less and the least of these other options. Okay, that doesn't happen all the time. But now, if you're getting a response that is what you like, it is on this side, then it's okay. If it's not, you have to go back. What we do is you go back, revise, reinforce, and come back to this question, this type of question. And that's why we have got many different kinds of these questions, as I was showing in the other slide. Also, we have got, for example, this. Write a word or phrase you have learned. If you get the phrases and words that you expect, if the people have comprehended it, stuff like that, then you need to go follow. You need to go and proceed on this. And as I said, sometimes we also use problem-based teaching. And problem-based teaching is, for example, we have got here. You start, for example, I'm talking about genes. I'll ask the question and start the problem first, and then we'll talk about what genes are and how we reach them and stuff like that. And then you ask these questions again at the end, and then you compare between your responses, what were in the initial and in the end, and then also gives you gauging of how much people have comprehended. If they have not comprehended, you go back, you change your slides, you do a lot of things to ensure that people can follow your slides. And it's not universal. I mean, what I mean by that is it can vary from one batch of the class to another batch, one semester to another semester. We got one semester have completely different students and then other students. Okay. Now I also give you an example of evidence-based teaching, which I use for advanced classes. For example, I teach cancer biology, and where we talk, for example, here we are talking about cell cycle. Yeah, we start with the cell and we make it to divide, and then we talk about what can go wrong in the cells. Again, we talk about cycle-independent kinases, how they influence the cell cycle. Again, we show videos, right? And then once we have shown the concept, what we do is what the concept here is that when the growth factor comes in, it activates the cyclins, and then that starts the cell proliferation. And this is again backed up by the evidence from the scientific data. So again, this data has got a reference here. If people want to follow that further, what it is showing is if you expose the cells to the growth factors, and then you will see the expression of the cyclins will increase. Okay? So again, to reinforce, for example, when we want to inhibit the cell proliferation, make the cell not to undergo cell division, we have to have inhibitors of cyclins. Again, we are showing that here when the cell is not multiplying, then the activity of this expression of these cell cycle inhibitors increases. Again, this is again shown by the data from the scientific literature, and the reference of the literature is shown here again. Again, another example is here when we see, for example, we have got P21 not localized inside the nucleus, that will lead to cell proliferation. It will not stop the cells, it will not inhibit the cells. Therefore, again, we are showing the data here, scientific data here, which is backed up by the reference. And again, altogether with these kind of models and this kind of strategy, what we want to ensure, basically what our outcome desire our expectations is basically to have student success, to ensure student success, to make people successful. Now, again, that's also, we give exams, we design the exams in such a manner so that most of the population of the class does not suffer, they are able to pass. But at the same point, we give some really tough, engaging questions, but we put weightage on them very low so that the people who are extraordinary in the class, they still keep them stimulated, keep them interested in the material, but not at the cost of the other students. Again, we want to ensure the student success in the end. And if we find some kind of situations, some kind of challenges students are having, then we encourage students, and there are various methods which I cannot go in detail. I can share that exemplify with a few examples, which if I'm asked to at some point, how do we do student encouragement and make them to achieve their potential? So with that, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Please feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you very much.